Adrien, I was wondering if you could dive into some of these possible executive actions and regulatory changes a little deeper. Maybe starting with what could happen on day one, like, January 20th, and then going forward.
Yeah, and I'll just plug here that there are a couple of resources that our organizations have worked on. And one is the Climate President Plan that the Center for Biological Diversity led on, and hundreds of organizations supported, that lay out a vision for what Joe Biden can do, the next administration can do immediately within legal authority. And Ben can talk more in detail about some of these things, but they include stopping the pipelines that have been, on and off again fight, like Keystone XL and Line 3 and the Dakota Access Pipeline. And so these are things that he can do with the pen immediately on day one. There's potential for him to declare a national climate emergency, which not only, I think, symbolically sends a signal to the world how seriously this administration will take the climate crisis. It also opens up special powers that he'll have in order to be able to do things like move some of the expenditures around from the defense budget into mobilizing a transition off of fossil fuels and injecting that into large-scale renewable development. There are many other things in that platform that I hope Ben will talk about in a second. There's another document that we worked on with over 100 signatories, 120 signatories, called the Frontlines Climate Justice Executive Action Platform. And in this, we really talked to a lot of our frontline partners who work with Indigenous communities, who work in communities of color, and fleshed out what are some of the things that an administration can do that address environmental justice right away and make sure that we're dealing with the overlapping crises of racial and economic inequality, as well as the climate crisis. And there are some very basic things in there that folks have been fighting for years, like respecting Indigenous sovereignty and making sure the next administration adheres to free, prior, and informed consent. That alone, if you see all of these fossil fuel infrastructure development projects that are going through Indigenous lands and territories, if the government actually respected the will of these sovereign nations, then that would help stop many of these projects. So there's that. There is fighting, putting in place regulatory rulemakings that would address the concentration of pollution in communities, what we call pollution hotspots, and making sure that we break up or set up standards so that we no longer allow the siting of multiple polluting facilities within a certain area, so that those communities aren't facing cumulative impacts of multiple sources of pollution. And there's some pieces that Biden has committed to in his plans, like doing an equity assessment and mapping of the country so that we can identify where are the communities that are most vulnerable to climate crisis and pollution, and then use that data to figure out where do we direct resources, which communities do we need to protect, which communities do we need to guarantee development of our renewable energy economy so that they have jobs and that people can live a good life instead of living with pollution and heat waves and droughts in their communities. So these are all sets of tools that Biden can implement as soon as he's in office. And some of these things he's already publicly committed to, and we just have to hold him accountable to getting it done.
Awesome. Thank you.
I just want to add super quickly before you see a large cane that extends from 350's headquarters around my neck, the 350 Action headquarters, and just flag that Joe Biden already committed to ending KXL forever. So just want to make sure that on the very top of our list of like pipe dreams that we need to shut down super quickly, we're focused on KXL and the lattice work of fossil fuel infrastructure that it represents. So